We're living in the final part of the last days, undoubtedly, the final part of the final part of the last days. This is the end of the world. This is the end of the world.
Hello and welcome to the Last Days live stream, the show that brings welcome levity to the end of the world, lifting the spirits of many of you currently battling boredom, loneliness or anxiety by infecting as many as possible with comfort and distraction as the apocalypse unfolds. How the heck are you all? 114 currently watching across YouTube and Facebook. Pam Peterson says Arizona greetings, only supposed to be 115 degrees today. Thank you for the weather stats, much appreciated. Thank you, Raven Tree Frog, for your super chat. That's very kind indeed. Raven also sends greetings from Ontario, Canada. We have Marilyn Joan with us. Very nice motorbike. I'm not really an aficionado of motorbikes. They kind of scare me a little bit. I have an uncle who's a motorbike enthusiast, and I just remember when I was young, it just felt as though it was one calamity after another. And he's a very proficient rider, by the way. It just felt as though he was always having accidents and breaking things. So it kind of put me off the idea. But it looks like a cool motorbike, that, it must be said. Debs Vista says, good morning, everyone. And Hayden Honeywood is here. Hello, all. Nearly 1 a.m. here in sleepy Australia. Yes, it is sleepy, I'm sure, this time in Australia. And commiserations, by the way, to the D'Souza family, because it seems they are stricken with illness. They can't be with us for today's show. So I have made arrangements for stand-ins to take their place. But I'm sure we'll collectively send best wishes to the D'Souzas and hope that they make a speedy recovery. Hopefully they're sleeping now and recovering from their maladies. Dorel Caminante says, hello from Bucharest, Bethel. Bucharest, Bethel? Several Pimo Bethelites are watching the program all over the world. I need to know more about this, Dorel. I need to have information on this supposed network of undercover Bethelites who are watching the Last Days live stream. That sounds fascinating. But welcome, chaps. Assuming that you are all chaps, maybe some of you are Bethelisses? How would you say it? Let's see here. So Christopher Nelson says, good morning from the west coast of the United States. Good morning, Christopher. England is represented today by Mr. Nick Rowland. Hello, Nick. Let's see. We have more greetings from the UK. The light just got brighter, if you say so. Mad Jock. Mad Jock. You can always rely on Mad Jock to bring greetings from Scotland. In this case, an overcast Scotland, it seems. That sounds like a fairly typical atmospheric condition for Scotland, if you'll allow me to say, Mad Jock. Bring on another fun show with cats and dogs. I love these animal YouTube. Yes, it should just be stated. It may say in the top corner, the Last Days live stream. It's a little bit deceptive because for YouTube algorithm purposes, this is predominantly a show about cute animals. It's just that we don't spend a large percentage of the show discussing them, but they are featured at some point. Case in point, Joan Spruce, my cat, is even excited to watch today. There you go. We're right off. Right from the beginning, we're mentioning people's pets. Okay, so I'm going to leave off, I think, from the comments for now, but welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for tuning in. Currently 160 across platforms, across Facebook and YouTube. We have the green room filling up. I see Brazil represented. I see California represented. I see Arkansas represented. And I see Romania represented. It's an international show. We've already heard there are Bethelites watching from all over the world, apparently. Thank you, Hector, as well, for your super sticker. Much appreciated. So let's get underway with the first of today's segments. We are reading from Exiting the JW Cult, a healing handbook for current and former Jehovah's Witnesses by Bonnie Zeman, an ex-Jehovah's Witness and mental health professional who I have had on the show. We're starting chapter 7, titled Ways to Support Your Recovery and Healing. There is a lot of valuable information, and there are many practical techniques that can accelerate and support the natural healing process after any difficult event, be it an experience that is a small T trauma, or a more serious experience that is a big T trauma. Trauma with a big T or a little t. In broad terms, we will get to the specifics in a bit, some ways I have discovered to help along the healing process after major trauma are, and then we have another bullet point list, slowly piece together a more complete understanding of the experience that has left you distressed. Allow yourself to experience the feelings that arise, grief, fear, anger, guilt, bitterness, etc., about the experience without going into denial, pushing them away, or judging them. Work to accept any reactions you have based on what you experienced. Read materials and visit websites that can normalize your reactions to contemplating leaving, actually leaving, and then suffering punishments prescribed by the JW sect for the leaving. Everything will feel much more manageable if you have assured yourself that you are experiencing what you are experiencing falls within the range of what everyone else who exits also experiences. Educate yourself about how to live free without an external parental substitute determining what you are allowed to do and what you are not. Read, study, learn. Or as I put it, research, research, research. Learn some basic coping skills to help you manage the anxiety, anger, hurt, loneliness, and sadness. For example, with the help of personal therapy, group therapy, self-help books, etc. See the suggested reading list at the back of this book. Revisit how to think critically and how to not be stuck in a black and white either-or view of the world. This will give you an expanded view of your options and help you make healthy choices for yourself. Reclaim your right to ask questions and your right to say no, without guilt and without having to justify your reasons for saying no. You no longer have to simply accept all arbitrary executive orders from on high without question. You have the right to ask. How exactly do you know that? Can you show me the research that supports what you are saying? Are there alternative possibilities to consider before arriving at a decision? Reconnecting with self, needs, values, and goals. This is just actually this is another fairly long list, but I'll maybe go halfway. Honor your needs and desires by taking time to determine exactly what they are for you now that you are out of the sect. When I had been out of the sect for a year or so, someone asked me in a particular situation what I needed. I watched myself try to find what I needed and not be able to find anything at all. I realized that as a Jehovah's Witness, I had been programmed to be totally disconnected from my personal wants and needs. I literally could not access a personal need. Part of my work then, and probably yours now, is to give yourself permission to have wants and needs, to reconnect with them and honor them. Learn how to and practice taking concrete steps to meet your specific needs, wants, desires, thereby affirming who you are now apart from the Jehovah's Witness organization and their indoctrination. Begin to peel back the layers of the false self you had to construct to survive in the sect. Underneath all the layers of defense, which were appropriate then to protect yourself, is your true, authentic self, waiting to be revealed. Just know you don't have to go anywhere to find or build a true self. Your true self lies within, waiting for you to strip away the false, unquestioning, acquiescent, numbed self you had to construct to survive in the controlling doomsday cult. Bonnie doesn't mince her words, does she? Take the time to proactively determine what you are willing to expend your life energies on now that you have freed yourself from the Watchtower's ever-present demanding agenda. Reclaim the right to determine how you will spend your time and energy. Decide to construct a new vision of life for yourself, one that is yours alone, not one prescribed for you by your family or the Watchtower Society. And then we have a poem. So, because Sasha isn't here and Sasha is ill, let's do it. Let's merge. Let's create an unholy merging of segments, viewers. And let's make this today's Sasha's Poetry Corner. Nature, my immortal mother, you give me a brief lifetime, yet you put immense designs in my heart. Look at me, still unripe, yet full of hidden powers, still becoming. And that's from Gabrielle D'Annunzio. Yes, Bonnie does have poetry in here, so it's quite useful, actually. Kills two birds with one stone, because we can do the book reading, and if Sasha isn't here, and it coincides with a chapter where there is a poem, we're quids in, aren't we? We can make use of that. So that was very, very interesting advice. Thank you very much. And again, the book is Exiting the JW Cult, a healing handbook for current and former Jehovah's Witnesses, available on Amazon. But it's time to bring in our panel. And we have Renato from Brazil. We have Susan from Arkansas. We have Arthur from Romania. And we have Javier from Los Angeles. How are you all?
Woo! Hello.
Good morning, everybody from LA.
We are great. We are spiritually enriched with Holy Spirit.
So, did I hear this correctly? That there's a group of Bethelites snuggled up with their pillows watching this broadcast right now somewhere?
That's what... Look, I'm not in a position to verify that claim, but that's what at least someone said.
I need photos, or it didn't happen.
Your skepticism... Well,
Am I
Bonnie
the only
encourages...
on the show today?
Bonnie encourages that kind of skepticism. Susan, probably you won't be, because I think Kimmy will be joining us later. I need to thank Nicole for a super chat. Cool. Yes, research. I find it ironic that as JWs, we were trained to study constantly. Now we can turn that skill into actually researching for ourselves. Very well said, Nicole. And also another super chat from Gina. Learn to open your mind by not allowing fear to creep back in. Open up to the new ideas. Find your true identity. Very much agree with that. I don't know what all of you thought about the sentiments that I was just reading. I saw you listening along there.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought one thing that caught my attention was when she mentioned about reading self-help books and looking for therapy and things like that, which is something that, as a Jehovah's Witness, you're completely discouraged to do. So it's funny, especially self-help books. I remember so many times as a witness about how useless they are, and only the Bible can give you all the life advice that you need. So you might still have that idea when you get out that you don't need self-help books, you don't need that kind of advice, but that's actually good. You find some really interesting stuff there. So don't be afraid to research as much stuff as possible so you can learn how to cope, because it is a very challenging thing to do.
Very well said.
Bonnie's books have been helpful to multiple people that I know. People, Pimos in my family, I've recommended this book to, and they've picked it up. People who've left that have reached out and stuff like that, I've recommended this book, and it's helped them. So, yeah, she's great.
Excellent. Yeah, and again, doesn't mince her words, tells it like it is. And it's exactly that kind of spirit that we're going to need at the end of our next segment, because the individual who's going to present the next segment has a very large following of admirers who tend to, let's face it, inflate his ego somewhat. But I see it as our role to drag him back down to planet Earth and make sure he gets a fair analysis of his singing when he indulges us with the segment Sing Along with Arthur.
A warm welcome, dear brothers and sisters. Sing Along with Arthur is back. You missed it, right?
He's going to do a long intro now, probably.
We haven't had a song for some quite a while, didn't we?
Yes, I've missed it.
Yeah, Lloyd missed my long intro. And I don't want to be long because I don't want to bore our dear viewers. So I'll make it really, really quick. As quick as...
I'll believe it when I see it.
As quick as the coming of the impeding Armageddon, isn't it? Because
so not quick then.
Definitely living
300 years.
Final part of these.
He's basically just hijacking the live stream at this point, isn't he?
System of things.
Sing.
No, I was.
Sing, Arthur.
I want to ask you a really quick question.
Anyway, that was Sing Along with Arthur, and I don't know about you, but there wasn't that much music this week. Hopefully next week
that was a cappella.
We'll have a bit more music for your amusement. I do apologize.
Lloyd, and dear viewers, have you heard about a certain brother called, well, I don't know if he's a brother. He definitely is not a brother. Called Brooks. No, not the one.
Hi, Kimmy.
Hi,
Kimmy, you just joined us as Arthur is doing an incredibly long intro to Sing Along with Arthur.
And Kimmy loves my short
I do.
intro, right?
Yeah.
Javier
has already turned to alcohol to get him through this.
And that certain...
I might have to go get some myself.
It's not even 9 a.m. yet, and he's got me drinking. I'll tell you.
And that certain Brooks fellow.
And he just keeps going. I love how Arthur just keeps on going. He just ignores us.
He is,
I know,
and thank you, by the way, to
perfection.
Marilyn Joan for your super chat. That's very kind.
Yes, that certain Brooks fellow inspired another fellow whose name is something similar with Kitten. Well, he's Keating, but it's similar with Kitten because this show is about kittens and dogs.
I'm going. I got my cat here.
To sing a certain song.
Sing already, Arthur.
And I took that song and I adapted it into "If the New World Never Comes."
Oh, it's starting. Wow.
And
Is
it's
it?
Wow.
I think so.
and it starts
Are you
like
sure?
this.
And it starts like
Finally.
Okay.
Oh.
do
Come
we
on,
have,
Art.
oh, sorry. I'm not sure whether I.
every week.
Okay, sorry.
The final part of the intro.
I'm going to start
I don't
singing.
know.
I'm going to sing.
Yes, Susan, please.
Sometimes late at night,
You're singing a cappella again.
I delve into
Don't tell him.
personal study. Hey, you're not. Sorry. Did you? Do we have audio or not? Because I
We
don't
have
want.
audio now. We have audio
yes.
now.
Sorry, because I lost track of the backing track. Sorry.
You should
It's
have
okay.
carried on. It was beautiful.
Oh, sheesh.
I was very moved.
No, it's really frustrating when I hear everything else.
No, don't
What
put
happened?
yourself
What is
down,
going on?
Arthur. Don't put yourself down. You're a good singer.
All my friends
Sometimes
are
late at
watching.
night,
Arthur,
There
all
we
my
go,
friends are
Arthur.
watching.
I delve into personal study. I love those prophecies about God's promises and meditate on them. And the thought crosses my mind that this is just a floating carrot. Should I ever doubt the way I feel about faith in Jehovah? If the new world never comes, my service is then good for nothing. All the hours door to door that brought my joy before were a waste of precious time. Before my time on earth was through, I should stop with all this nonsense. I was a witness in the past, and I know it shouldn't last if the new world will never come.
Waiting for your look, Lloyd.
Cause I've lost loved ones in my life.
Oh, there's more.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it goes on for a
And I
while.
had hope for the resurrection.
Oh,
I really need new friends.
Don't be over, Robbie.
Now I live with the regret that
Lloyd, how much were we
shared
being
this
paid
hope
again?
with
darn you,
others
friend.
in the public ministry. So made a promise to myself to raise awareness of the harm cults cause.
No, we're
And
not killing
avoid that
anything. That's just my
circumstance
friend online.
when
He's
there's no
singing.
second chance. That's how I feel.
That was great, Abby.
Well done, Javi.
If the new world never comes,
If the end never comes,
my
song,
service
then.
is then good for nothing. All the hours door to door,
I'm sorry, officer. It's not a hate crime. It's just a call.
a waste of precious time.
I stand by that.
Before my time on earth was through,
2 kinds of
I
drinks.
should stop with all this nonsense. I was a
Susan's digging
witness
it.
in the past, and I know it shouldn't last.
There we
The
go.
world never
I
comes.
think that's an air bass.
I wrote the lyrics of the song for you all to sing along. If the new world never comes.
You never cease to amaze me, Arthur.
Oh,
Bravo.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that's over.
My dogs did stop barking, so you know. Thank you.
Right.
Wow.
Mark,
That was
you're
definitely
watching.
amazing.
Mark's watching but unfortunately we're maxed out, Mark. So is there any way at all that you and Kimmy can double up on a camera?
I'm not sure because we're in
What can we
different
do?
different rooms.
It's just that I don't know how else. I'd like to have everyone on the last day's quiz. Just think about it. Let's in the meantime.
I can back out if Mark wants.
No, Susan. In the meantime, let's discuss what's just happened. Arthur, you've surely broken the internet with that one. Did you feel comfortable with how it went?
Yeah, I think so.
It was the long intro like a psychological ploy to soften people a little bit and pummel them into submission.
But I really hope people enjoyed it. Because I was with my eyes.
I'd like to talk to. I want to talk to my producer to sign off to that.
Sorry, go on, Susan.
I want to get my record producer. Oh well, I'm wanting to talk to my record producer. I think we could get him signed up.
I'm amazed, Susan, that he hasn't been signed up already. I feel as though, surely, of all the record contracts that are flying around, surely one of them can make their way to Arthur's door.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
I have
listen to some
a wonderful
music in
manager,
Brazil,
Arthur. We'll get you signed up. Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
if you listen to some of the music in Brazil, I don't know how Arthur doesn't have a record. Because
when you say some of the music in Brazil, are we including music that you might hear being played in remote tribes
no,
have yet to be connected to civilization?
No, come on, we're not that late. I have internet.
That's very colonialist of you.
Yeah. Of course, the British guy said that about Brazil.
I'm just trying to imagine the full spectrum of music in Brazil, and I'm trying to understand where you would position Arthur's skills on that spectrum.
I'm sorry, Englishman. Let me take the bone out of my nose and put on a record for you.
I'm going to send you a link sometime, Lloyd.
Okay.
And here I am
from
Arkansas. I don't understand none of it.
So
Lloyd, our issue is that we have headphones, so Mark and I can't both plug into his computer.
Actually, the only song,
and it is our anniversary today, by the way.
The only song in Portuguese that I know to sing is Nossa, assim você me mata, I se eu te pego, I se eu te pego.
Unfortunately, we've lost Arthur's audio just as he was launching into butchering.
By the way, Lloyd, that is one of the most successful songs in the history of Brazilian music. That's the level where...
Obviously, I recognized it instantly.
My God. So that's what I'm saying. Arthur can get a record if that's the standard here.
Oh, didn't they have that really cool song with Don Omar that was on Fast and Furious movies?
Oh, yeah. That was good. Yeah.
I don't know how to rectify the problem with Team O'Donnell because it's their anniversary, so it would be nice to have them both on the show. But Kimmy, am I right in saying
I can hop off and we're gonna let Mark on if you want?
Okay.
I can't really go in Mark because his office set up with the headphones and stuff. We can't plug into the same computer, so.
Well, Javi, in that case, if you are hopping off, is there anything profound that you would like to say to the viewers before you go?
I can make a couple of movie suggestions if you still.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Right, so I'll do one feature film and one documentary. I'll start with the documentary. It's
actually, if I could just interject, what I find when it comes to movies is that they have a role in culture which is akin, some might say, to providing people with comfort. So let's merge Javier's movie recommendations with our usual segment. Harvey's Comfort Corner.
Wow, you really have these slides like lined out, and you have to get them in the show, right? Like,
I wouldn't say it's quite like that. It just seems a shame when you're providing something that's sort of comforting. Mind you, the films that you typically watch aren't all that comforting. They tend to involve people doing horrendous things to each other, don't they?
well, there's definitely one of these in the list. But it's okay. So it's a documentary called The Last Narc, and it's an Amazon original documentary, and it's the story of Kiki Camarena, who was an undercover DEA agent in Mexico who was investigating the drug cartels in the 80s, and he was assassinated by the cartels. But this uncovers a conspiracy that potentially involves the DEA, the cartel networks in Mexico, the CIA, and the U.S. government. It's the theme that it presents, and the plot twist in the story is that potentially all of these conspired to murder this DEA agent because he was uncovering he was essentially too good at his job. But it's a fascinating documentary. I highly recommend it. I just caught it last week. The Last Narc on Amazon Prime. So one documentary, and then I caught a very, very nice film that I've never watched before. It's called Nobody's Fool. It's a 1994 film starring Paul Newman, who a great American actor. And I don't know why I've never seen this film, but it's got an amazing cast. It's got Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jessica Tandy, Melanie Griffith, Bruce Willis. I mean, it's an amazing cast, and it's a small film based on a novel, nothing violent, but it's the kind of movie that I just can't imagine being made still today. It's a small film with a huge cast, great acting, and it's a lovely story. It has to do with family and a father who essentially abandoned his children, and then they reconnect as adults, and it's a great story. I highly recommend it.
Excellent. Javier, would you consider allowing me to make like a regular segment for you to do movie recommendations?
Sure. I'm always watching movies, so I'll always have something to recommend.
The only caveat is that I get to create the intro sequence.
Oh no!
No, not another one.
Oh god!
But anyway, thank you for agreeing to do that.
I say Ruth and Javi both do.
216 viewers. We'll discuss this further. My people can get in touch with your people, Javier, and we'll thrash this out.
Sure. I'll send the paperwork over, and we'll take care of it.
Okay.
All right, guys. It was good catching up with you all. Enjoy.
Take care, pal. See ya.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Javi.
So we, and then there were 5, but there will shortly be 6. Let me just see if I can add Mr. O'Donnell waiting patiently there. So Mark and Kimmy, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
22
Happy
years.
anniversary.
And Mark,
Actually,
you've already been serenaded
Saturday.
Today.
Serenade. Oh yeah, I did see.
Was that our anniversary present?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Let me turn my volume back up again because I had to turn my volume down.
I can't imagine why you would have to turn your volume down for any part of this show. I mean,
man. First of all, thank you for that. 22 years ago today, at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, too bad I don't have the picture.
Married by the same guy that ended up coming to our door to disfellowship us, or
full circle,
bring us to a judicial committee, as it turns out. So anyway, but no, we were married August 15th, 1998, and we immediately hopped off to Hawaii for 2 weeks and had a great time. So and it was a Saturday, and today is a Saturday too. So it's funny how that falls back on the cycle here. But sadly, we are stuck home, not in Hawaii, but the coronavirus would have us here in the office today, in the house today. But that's okay. So thank you guys very much.
I mean, this is better than Hawaii. Let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you know,
We could have filmed in Hawaii, so
it's very international. I mean, I'm
If
pleased
my
that-
memory serves, Arthur actually has a grass skirt, so maybe he could do a little bit of hula dancing to mark the occasion.
So let's skip that.
I was thinking maybe we should sing on the song we danced to, right? One in a
I
million
have
you.
a sarong, so
Look,
Well-
I can't be any happier than being here with you guys. And, you know, Renato is sort of like a new adjunct team member, and Arthur is a steady Eddie and has been great. And Susan has been my friend for nearly a year now, I think, Susan. And, you know, we've had a chance to meet, and I've been to her house in can I say it? I mean,
Arkansas.
Yeah,
That's how
okay.
it's pronounced,
Arkansas.
by the way.
I Arkansas. No,
Sure.
I didn't know.
I
Okay. Thank you, Susan. So I've been
Yes,
to her
yes,
home and have been able. And in fact, I got to see her little kitten, Wang Chang Burrito, when he was a little tiny tyke. And let me tell you, that took a lot of
Wang
stress
Chang
off.
Cheetah Burrito.
Yeah, he's got a long name, but took a lot of stress off of being in the middle of a child abuse trial. So thank you for that, Susan, and for the bravery. So anyway, thank you guys, and thanks to Javier. You know, I'm sorry the crazy situation here. We kind of have to redo the mics and.
It's okay. We got some good movie recommendations out of him before he left. And
if he wants to come back on, I'll jump back.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So thanks to Joe for the super chat, and thanks also to Special K2.0. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the super chat. That's very kind.
Cereal, or is that a reference to K2 the mountain?
You would have to ask them, I suppose, but
He'll send us a comment.
In any case, that's a very generous super chat, so thank you.
Right, I want to point out there is a cat on there's a cat.
I see that.
Well, it's a cat
It's a
show.
cat.
It's a pet show, so there's nothing unusual about that. If, in fairness, Susan, that is the nature of the program.
If you surpassed
I don't know why
100,000
there's so much
viewers,
delay in my audio. I'm sorry.
A quick question from Sasuke Uchiha. Hi, Lloyd. You're almost reaching 70,000 subscribers. Do you have any ideas of a celebration when you reach that milestone? Not really. I'm kind of just... I'm kind of done with milestones for now. I'll probably do one when I hit 100, but I don't have any plans to do anything until then. But thank you very much for mentioning that.
Maybe
And
Mark and I will get over to Croatia for that one, right?
mm-hmm.
maybe we'll do something very special for the 100,000 one.
Pastries for everyone.
Except I think the U.S. people are still banned right now, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we can't come.
Yeah, we don't want your sort. Apart from in live stream format, and what better way to have a live stream and to enjoy our time together than to berate each other in the form of a quiz?
As one brother put it, stay alive to 75.
Welcome to the last day's quiz, the ultimate battle of minds, as two teams of today's panelists face off against each other to prove their knowledge of this show and Jehovah's Witness Doomsday Dogma. Now, what the contestants probably don't know is that we have for this show a moderator and a scorekeeper in the form of a professional sports commentator. We're speaking of course, Renato Gonçalves from Brazil. Renato, thank you for agreeing to perform this important role.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure. I'm a professional, and this is what I do.
It is. And perhaps you could give us a rundown of the of the situation so far in terms of the teams.
Unnecessary.
So before
I'm sorry, Renato. I'm sorry.
Before I do so, I am very excited for today's quiz because I'm not really excited to know who's going to win and who's going to lose. We all know who's going to lose. But what I am excited about,
Ouch.
This is last day's quiz number 10.
Number 10, indeed.
10.
Yeah.
Symbol of completeness.
Oh,
So this is very exciting, and I've prepared an introduction, if you don't mind. So
Please do.
Let me put my professional voice back on. Okay. Hello. Welcome to the last day's quiz, number 10. Before tonight's panelists engage in the ultimate war of intellect,
It is a war of
battle for
intellect.
supremacy as the person with the most knowledge of truly outrageous Watchtower material, I would like to update you on all the numbers, records, and relevant statistics from the previous 9 editions of the last day's quiz. Thanks to another dominant display last Saturday, Arthur's Knights continue to dominate the wins category with 7,
Cheater!
including the last 4 in a row. Now, remember that Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, never won 4 titles in a row. So think of how impressive this run is by Arthur's Knights. Or is it that impressive, considering that their opponents are Team O'Donnell? That's a question for you. Because let's be honest, the last time that Mark and Kimi were good at this, fanny packs were still in fashion.
Oh! He went there.
They're
he
back.
went there.
Now, as
They're back.
Pack merch will
every
be
week
available
wasn't
shortly.
enough, Arthur's Knights continue to hold the record for most points with 35, but the addition of a new round, the fanny pack effect, gives the teams a good chance to break that record. Except if one of those teams is Team O'Donnell, because then we'll be lucky if they finish with 1 point.
Oh, it hurts, Renato. It hurts.
So that's
I
all
thought
you
he
need
was
to know.
on our side.
Oh, he liked us.
oh,
Now, the thing...
Both teams and to all contestants, I have one question for you. Is that your final answer?
Oh, I like it. You see, I like Renato's enthusiasm, and even if he is cutting in his remarks about Team
cutting.
O'Donnell,
Very.
it should be noted that he is more of a Team O'Donnell fan than an Arthur's Knights fan. Is that not fair, Renato?
Yes, absolutely. I have to be truthful.
Yeah.
And don't forget that Team O'Donnell won 20 unanswered points as the end of last Saturday's round. So we are, in fact, despite the loss due to cheating and all sorts of other matters, we are still on a
Allegations.
point streak.
Allegations.
Alleged cheating.
So
Roaming eyes, roaming
you're
eyes.
talking about the 20 points you got when the game was already over and it didn't matter. That's the 20 points you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, that was exactly
You know-
correct.
Apologies, viewers, if the last day's quiz is descending into anarchy before we've even begun. Another thing that the contestants aren't aware of, in addition to Renato joining the show as a moderator and scorekeeper, is that we will now have points deducted for bad discipline.
For
And
real?
it will be Renato's job to adjudicate as an impartial observer.
It's like a penalty box.
So half a point will be deducted for insubordination.
This is bullying. I did not agree to this.
1 point will be deducted for trying to influence the other team.
You
I
hear that,
didn't sign
Arthur?
up for this.
And 2 points will be deducted for reasonable suspicion of cheating.
Such as roaming eyes.
Do you have all this in a manual, Lloyd?
Okay.
Called Shepherd the Flock of Quizzes?
This is an entirely authoritarian, totalitarian quiz in which
Very
I have the
very
final
black
word
and
on
white.
everything. You don't like it, Mr. O'Donnell.
I
back
think
You just have,
Javier.
you just have to deal with it.
of information that comes straight out of the Shepherd the Quiz book, and I object.
So, Renato, could you please
We're
add
gonna-
that to your
And I
list
have
of
a-
duties, adjudicating when it comes to those points deductions, please?
Yes,
Renato?
absolutely.
Excellent.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Also, I have a coin.
Oh, could you in that case, could you do the coin toss and let's?
I have a new coin too.
So, Mr. O'Donnell, could you please choose head or tails, please?
Fine.
Well, I
Actually, no. Let's choose Kimmy.
So,
Let's
this
ask
is-
Kimmy.
Okay.
Make sure it's not
This is heads.
a two-headed coin.
All right. I'm gonna go. We're gonna go heads this week,
Okay, we're going heads.
unless we lose, and then I want to pick the
It's
other
a
one.
seven-headed coin.
It is heads.
All right.
Heads.
Wink,
Team
wink.
O'Donnell
Bernardo.
goes first.
I think that's the first time we've won a coin toss.
It is.
Yeah, first time you've won anything.
Oh!
Oh, we have one.
Just doesn't
And-
stop.
Win.
And
Just
you're on
doesn't
our
stop.
side?
I'm sorry.
Some of us couldn't watch on Wednesdays, and even though we were
Apologies
going to
again,
shows.
viewers.
Sports
The
recording
quiz
or
is
not,
again descending into anarchy before I can even get the questions read out.
I just have
We-
to remember who the real enemy is.
We start the quiz with
I'm
our first
really
round.
against to lend a little,
Do you remember what we said, Renato, about insubordination?
Yes.
I think that should include talking over the host when the host is trying to ask a question.
Okay.
No.
Got it.
Okay, so we start our first round. They wouldn't write that. And for this round, I have decided to again go into my extensive collection of Watchtower materials from yesteryear. And the first publication we will be dipping into is this publication, Face the Facts, by Joseph Rutherford, printed in 1938. I am going to read 3 quotes from said publication. One of them is fake. And you need to tell me which it is. So, quote number
Bring it
1.
on.
The great mass of the people that have lived since the flood have been wicked. Today the earth is filled with a wicked class similar to that which filled the earth prior to the flood. That's quote number 1. Quote number 2. We say with confidence that in a short while the nations of Britain and America will be fully consumed by the Catholic combine and forced to do the devil's bidding as totalitarian puppets in the same way as Germany and Italy. That's quote number 2. Quote number 3. At the Battle of Armageddon, Christ Jesus, leading his invincible army, will slay you and give your dead carcasses to the fowls of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, and all creation shall know that Jehovah is the Almighty God. Which of those quotes is fake? Is it number 1, number 2, or number 3?
And what year was this publication again, Lloyd?
1938.
Okay.
Face the Facts.
My gut says number 1 is fake.
That's what I was thinking, number 1.
Number 2 is the Germany and Italy. I mean, that's a toss-up because he could have made that up, but we have no way of knowing. And number 3 has language that I think Lloyd probably wouldn't write, like, what is it, fowls of the air, unless he found that.
It sounds like that sounds like 1930 language, so let's go with number 1.
Which, of course, he's getting good at replicating. So you want to go with number 1?
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 1.
Final answer, number 1. Although Lloyd's smirking, so.
He's got to ask us first.
You have taken as your final answer quote number 1.
Yes. Uno.
I am here to tell you that you are incorrect. It was quote number 2.
Germany and Italy.
Although, so I wrote quote number 2 because there were multiple quotes of that kind in the book, but I thought rather than repeat them, I'm just going to write my own. So,
Yeah, that's why I thought that was a toss-up. So well done.
yeah, thank you. Let's see. Renato, can you just give us a recap on where we're up to in terms of my ability to fool people?
You are, I think it's safe to say, a lunatic.
Move over, Paul Gillies.
That's my observation.
He doesn't mince words, does he,
He does
Renato?
not.
He's crazy.
Okay, so we move on to Arthur's Knights. Can they succeed where Team O'Donnell have failed and capture 5 points by figuring out which quote I have written? We move on to the 1960s. 1967, rescuing a great crowd of mankind out of Armageddon. So, which of the following three quotes... Actually, let me just take it off full screen so that Mr... you know,
You gotta watch
just so that
live.
Renato can monitor things.
I'm paying attention.
So, which of the following quotes is fake? Quote number 1. Do not laugh and treat what we say as a joke. We are not joking. The Bible is not joking. The worldly scoffers of this present system of things are doomed, for human society is facing Armageddon, the war of the great day of God the Almighty. That's quote number 1. Quote number 2. Like Gideon of old, we place our firm trust in Jehovah and his new world leadership, already in evidence on earth today. Where our sovereign Lord leads, we follow. Whatever he instructs, no matter how strange it may seem to our enemies, we will gladly do. That's quote number 2. Quote number 3. They know that earthly rulers and their armies cannot give them life everlasting and can in no way protect them from extermination, along with worldly rulers and armies at Armageddon. They do not want the carrion birds to pick their bones of their dead bodies on the battlefield of Armageddon. Which of those quotes is fake? Is it 1, 2, or 3?
Susan?
Oh my. Yes. Well, I think I've heard quote number 2 somewhere before the Gideon thing. And in quote number 3, the word extermination. Arthur, do you think they would have used extermination in the 60s?
They kind of used it, but I would go for 3 as well, as being fake. Or as being Lloydian.
That word extermination. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so let's not have our lips locked, so go for number 3.
Arthur of Arthur's Knights, you have chosen quote number 3 as your final answer, and I'm here to tell you that your answer is incorrect.
Yeah.
Wow.
Number 1?
Oh, wow.
Host points. Host points.
Oh,
4 in a row.
I am ripping my mic off and leaving this show.
That's
Was it number
4. 4 shows.
Renato, what are your thoughts on my victory in 4 straight competitions?
You are officially a Watchtower writer, so you can use the... I don't think victory is the word you could use. So that's my opinion.
Oh, dear.
4 weeks in a row. That's unbelievable.
See, that's...
Writing
I enjoy the
Steve
quiz.
Lloyd.
I enjoy the quiz, but I'm not going to lie. That's the part I enjoyed the most, is trying to trick you, and I've managed it 4 times in a row. So, go me.
It gets to the point where you get so adept at that the quiz has almost become it's just a guessing match, and winners or losers are decided by the flip of a coin almost.
So Lloyd, if you were given points for fooling the teams with this one, you have more points than Timo Dono last week.
I don't need points, Renato. I just need the satisfaction.
Oh, brilliant. That was brilliant.
So we move on to the next round.
So what was which was the fake quote then? Number 1?
Okay, the fake quote was number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah. Bear with me one moment. I need to grab a songbook.
Oh, here he is, unprepared again. Well, let me grab the songbook and just
look at someone.
randomly
Uh-huh.
grab these.
And it's
Oh,
always the old
Minus-
Oh,
songs.
now he's going to deduct points. There we go.
Minus half a point
Insubordination.
for insubordination for Timo O'Donnell.
Thanks for keeping on top of that.
I have to be impartial.
Exactly. He's being impartial. He's
Authoritarian, dictatorial.
he's enforcing the rules. Those are the rules. No insubordination.
I didn't sign
no
anything.
disrespect of the
Insubordination.
quiz. Okay, so I'm going to pick
Bernardo,
a
I wish
song.
I wish to file a complaint.
Okay.
Formal complaint.
You set a formal complaint?
He always used the old song. Know the old song.
That's
Yeah.
the whole point. Yeah.
Okay, so let's proceed with the quiz. We are with Team O'Donnell. Complete the lyric. Take sides with Jehovah, make him your delight.
He'll never forsake you. Walk air in his light.
Correct. Team O'Donnell, you have won some points.
Actually,
so
on the
that's-
board.
So that's 2 points, but with half a point deducted, that means you're on 1.5 points.
Oh, come on. Can we earn that back? Good behavior.
Well, the rules are the rules, and Renato is impartially enforcing them. Let's see here.
You almost seem like you froze there.
Yeah, I'm just, talk amongst yourselves.
Is that
to
cat
be
going to
honest-
move, Susan?
I'm still glowing after
Yeah,
the.
cat's not moving.
What?
Your cat's not moving. He was making sure the cat was okay.
Yeah.
I'm still glowing after my victory on the first round, to be honest.
Arthur, are you always reading the live chat comments? Is that why your eyes are always back and forth? Back
Okay,
and forth?
so Arthur's Knights, complete the lyric. Steadfast, we all need to be. Far from this world we keep free.
Watch the eyes, Arthur.
Yeah.
Steadfast we need to be far from this now.
That's the
He
wrong
gave
song.
you those lyrics.
Oh,
Do you need me to sing the song?
I think so.
steadfast.
Do you need, just stop singing so I can get my notes right. Steadfast, we all need to be. Far from this world we keep free.
As we feed on
He
God,
died to the end.
keep integrity.
Da, 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 da,
Right, Arthur.
It always amazes me, Arthur, how you're able to remember the lyrics while getting the melody completely wrong. But lyrics
And
you
the
have
language that you never
remembered.
sang the song in, right?
So you win points for that particular part of the round. So congratulations. We move back to Team O'Donnell.
When's the Team O'Donnell merch coming out?
Okie dokie.
In the form of a fanny pack, right?
It's going to say 0 points.
And I have such a conflict of interest,
Boom.
you know,
You do, Susan. You
because I met Mark first, and so now I'm on Arthur's Nights. It's hard.
Yeah, it's
Challenging
Well, that's why you need to be
because
you need to be a spy for our team, for Team O'Donnell.
We already have a spy, so we don't need to.
Okay, Team O'Donnell.
Hey,
Do we have a faith accompanied by works? Let me know if you need me to sing it. Do we have a faith accompanied by works?
This kind of faith will
something alive.
make our hearts
Have
renowned
a faith accompanied
by
by
works. This kind of faith will make our hearts secure.
No, Mark, stop that. You do it. See, this is why we lose, Renato. Preserves our
Our souls alive.
Correct. You've won some points.
Thank
well
you.
done.
When Mark's not like
Congratulations.
making up the crazy lyrics, right?
I needed that word preserve. That's what I needed.
Yeah, yeah.
You won that for
Thank you.
that word alone.
Happy anniversary.
It's not something to be proud of, though, because you're
That's your
remembering cult lyrics that have.
Yeah, I was remembering.
Did you know that one?
themselves.
Did you remember that, Arthur?
He didn't
did
read
you-
it off the screen, so.
Ouch.
Be careful. Be careful.
No, I mean,
My
but
game-
but seriously,
my
Arthur,
game
where
to
it
get
was
the points
did
up.
that you knew the lyric? I mean, you knew the tune at least, right?
Uh-huh.
I was curious. Anyway, we'll move on. He's not answering. He's reading ahead.
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay, Arthur's Knights. Marriage is God's arrangement. By him it was designed. Do you need me to sing it?
Yeah, please.
Marriage is God's arrangement. By him it was designed.
Arthur.
Watch the eyes.
You need to close
Arthur,
your
I
eyes.
am absolutely useless to you in this.
I think I got it.
I have
Mark,
no
please.
idea. None.
Arthur.
I'll never be invited on the show again.
Oh, you know, you will. You will.
Well, you did come in later, Susan. I mean, they were just starting to introduce the new songs, right? So
Yeah,
you
I
were
just-
kind of singing both.
God's arrangement.
Yeah, they were just coming out when I
It forms a bond.
Yeah, there we go. We're gonna-
Union brings blessings to mankind. Yeah, that's it.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Still suspicious. Very suspicious.
Well, Renato is the moderator.
I know.
He's the one that
Ooh,
makes the
Arthur.
decision.
That was a little suspicious there.
No foul play on that one.
I think blindfold might be in order.
Yeah, I think next week. See, reads over.
Okay, Team O'Donnell. I've set my king upon my holy mountain.
I've set my king upon.
Do you need me to sing it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
I've set my king upon
Upon
my holy mountain.
mountain. Jehovah is on something.
Do you need me to sing more going back?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I am the Lord, there is no other. I am the Lord, Jehovah is my name. I've set my king upon my holy mountain.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time with the lyric on that one. That's a very familiar tune, but
Sorry, it's gone.
yeah.
Okay, we pass that over to
Songs are
Arthur's
awful
Knights.
anyway.
Yeah, Arthur's reading it
Oh,
right
gosh.
now.
Yeah, I keep
How to
thinking I've
roll
come
his
to
sun
Jehovah's
begins
Mountain.
to
and
rain.
it's
Yeah,
wrong.
okay, Arthur's Knights have got it.
Renato, you're not paying attention.
And we go
I
to
am.
Arthur's Knights for
I
the
am.
final.
Promise you I
You
am.
need to watch that in a replay.
We go to Arthur's Knights for the final
Lloyd,
question.
I'm calling cheat.
I caught cheat on that too.
Lloyd, quick
We're
question.
not. Yeah,
Do they get 2 points for that, or do they get
they,
just one?
they get 2 points for it. Yeah, they've managed to scoop all 2 points for that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry about this, everyone. I do try and get this round prepared in advance, but if I do run out of time, this is the one that I do on the hoof.
That's an interesting expression, on the hoof.
Yeah, that's an English. Is that
That's, yeah,
English
on the
centric?
roof. Does
Yeah,
that
that's
make you a
some UK
free
thing.
animal, or
That's like
Is
when you
that-
guys say
is
sat on the
that,
fence for
Is that
undecided.
on the fly?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Okay, so Arthur's Knights. Complete the lyric. God is love and therefore bids us walk in love's excelling way.
Close your
Sing
eyes.
it. Sing it.
Sing it, Lloyd, please.
God is love and therefore bids us walk in love's excelling way.
Letting love of God and neighbor
Brother.
things we do and say.
Correct. So we conclude the Songs of Doom round. Where are we up to with the points, Renato?
So after the second round, Arthur's Knights have 8 points against Team O'Donnell's 3.5. And Team O'Donnell's have 3.5 points because they were deducted half a point for insubordination.
Thank you for that roundup, Renato. Very useful indeed. And we move on to the next round, which is, if I can find it on my notes, Out of Context. Yes, the round that Team O'Donnell loves. So what I've decided to do, because we didn't have a show on Wednesday, I was very clever and I thought, why don't I get a random number generator, put as the maximum number all of the shows we've ever done, including the coronavirus lockdown live stream, and ask the random number generator to come up with a show that I will quiz you on. The number that the RNG came up with was number 20, which actually sent me back into the coronavirus lockdown live stream era of this show. So I'm going to run some quotes past you from that particular episode, and you're going to tell me who said it.
Do we at least know who was on that episode?
No, you can't. You have
Do you
have
need
to keep up with the show.
Date of the episode?
So perhaps
Arthur can look it up in advance.
Since there still seems to be some confusion on this round, perhaps Renato can explain the role and function of the out of context round.
So the out of context round works like this. Each team gets a quote that was said, in a certain episode, and the team has to figure out who said it.
But why have I put this round in the quiz?
Because then you force the teams to prepare and watch the shows in advance so they can be good at this.
And would you say preparation is an important ingredient in any serious sport, in your professional opinion?
Absolutely. You have to train to win. You can't.
Yeah, but we weren't given the opportunity to train.
We're hearing there from a professional, so thank you for that confirmation there, Renato, that this is indeed a valid round.
But you didn't tell us in advance the episode, so we could have watched it.
So, out of context, which live stream panelist said the following in a past episode? 2 questions each, 2 points for each correctly answered question. We start with Team O'Donnell. Who said this? Here's a brand new residential project.
Here's?
Yeah.
As in, here is a brand new residential...
As in, here is, yeah.
So Kimmy, who would be talking about a residential project?
I don't know, because we weren't even given the date of the episode.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all a guess.
That makes a difference because you don't watch the episodes anyway.
Exactly, and we're not going to.
I'm not even gonna dock points for insubordination because the burn was strong there.
Thank you, Renato. Thank you.
It was legitimate. Like, how could I prepare if I wasn't given the episode?
So I'm going to read the line again, and we'll hopefully have less insubordination for the remainder of this round. Here's a brand new residential project. Who said that?
Brand new residential project. I don't know. Let's go, Lloyd. Mark. Or not.
I think that would be too. Well, so it's somebody that's on the show that's talking about some subject matter. Here's a brand new residential project. So let's go down the list quickly. So we have Sasha and Sherry and Kim and what was it? Number 20. How long ago was it?
He won't tell us. It's a secret.
Oh, but he said
episode 20.
It's episode
it's episode 20.
Yeah,
so
looking it up
the
right
date
now.
and time and guest list.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm just saying approximately, like, was it 2 months ago or a month ago or? Well, let's see. You've been doing it since was it March?
We did 3 a week then at the beginning.
It being my show, yes.
What episode are we on right now, Lloyd?
We're currently on, it says in the thing, doesn't it? 46.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so it was halfway through the
Okay.
thing
Doesn't
in
matter.
July.
Mark, just pick a person.
Yeah, well, we're going to analyze it and kill time until it's 12:30, and then we all go home, and basically the other
we
team
are home.
forfeits. Team Arthur forfeits out of boredom.
This is
Yeah, Arthur's right
going
now
on
looking up
longer
which
than
episode
Arthur's
20 is.
introduction to the song.
I'm going to have to press you for an answer.
Okay, what do you think, Kimmy?
I just said Lloyd. I don't know. Maybe they're talking about like one of the Watchtower projects. I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
I don't have a better answer. So
We have no way to gauge. We weren't given any advance.
It's a guess. So you are
Wrong.
Is that your final answer?
It is. It's wrong, but it's our final answer.
Your answer is incorrect. It was Arthur. He was out and about on his bike, and he was pointing
he was
to
pointing out. Now I remember
local
that episode.
landmarks in his town.
Yeah,
Okay, so we go to Arthur's Knights,
sense.
I would have gotten it.
who said the following.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to claim this as mine, believe me.
Sorry, say it again, please, because I got.
I wouldn't want to claim this as mine, believe me.
This is mine. Believe me.
So this was a Saturday show.
How do you know that, Arthur?
What? Yeah, I knew. I knew it
Yes.
because I
It's very difficult for Arthur to cheat on this one
And
because it
about
would
the-
literally mean him watching the whole thing through and there's no
No.
transcript.
Of course. And I don't cheat per se.
Of
but-
course.
say.
Of course. Who would even suggest such a thing?
Claim-
I don't think the person that said it used the Lloyd just used.
Oh,
I think
it's
Lloyd is
Lloyd.
cheating for one thing by using that tongue.
So just to be clear, Arthur's Knights, has one of your panelists accused the host of cheating?
That's insubordination. We're not.
Renato.
That's minus half a point for
Thank you, Renato. Arthur's Knights, if you could please control your conduct and keep everything pure. Pure, spotless, and unblemished is what we're aiming for here on the
Exactly.
last day's quiz.
Arthur, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
Okay,
It's,
now I
half a
forgot
point
the
is not a big
quote.
loss. I'm purely guessing. Lloyd, final answer.
You have answered.
Yeah,
Lloyd.
I go with Lloyd.
I'm here to tell you your answer is correct. It was indeed Lloyd. It was me. Talking about myself in the third person. I must be going insane. So we return to Team O'Donnell. Team O'Donnell, I need you to tell me who said the following. Yesterday, one of our friends had a litter of puppies, so we picked her up yesterday. This is Miss Addie.
Wait, what?
I'll repeat. Yesterday, one of our friends had a litter of puppies, so we picked her up yesterday. This is Miss Addie.
Was it Sasha or Sherry?
The puppies?
Puppies.
Did we miss a puppy on the show? Was that a Wednesday?
No, Arthur said it was a Saturday episode they're doing. He knows all the episodes, so.
This is Miss. Well, that does sound familiar. Miss Addie. Who was that?
I don't know, maybe Arthur was showing us a dog.
It sounds like something Sasha or Sherry would say.
Okay.
Like Sasha,
Maybe they were visiting
their
Auntie
Auntie Bev.
Go Sasha.
Okay.
Final answer.
Is that your final answer?
Si, senor.
Your answer is incorrect. It was actually Brandon.
Oh,
Shame on you
yeah,
for
yeah,
not
yeah.
keeping up with the pets of fellow JWsurvey team
We
members.
did. I thought we did know about the puppy. I forgot.
You see,
That was one of those episodes where you dragged Brandon out of bed on an early Saturday morning.
Poor Brandon.
which takes us back across to Arthur's Knights for the final question of this round. Arthur's Knights, who said the following.
Okay.
That's one way that they do that, is by changing pictures, changing words, and pretending that they never said it.
Well, I will go with our brother, John Redwood, with this answer. I think it was indeed my final answer, Lloyd.
Arthur's Knights, you have chosen for your final answer John Redwood.
Yes, I believe it was John Redwood.
Here is an image of John Redwood. I'm here to tell you that your answer is incorrect. It was actually the other Redwood. So, so perhaps, Renato, you could give us a roundup of the points at the end of that round.
So I'm finishing calculations. So
Intensive.
after 3 rounds,
I thought you were a
Arthur's Knights,
professional, Renato.
yes, Arthur's Knights have 9.5 points against Team O'Donnell's 3.5 points.
Interesting. It's reasonably well poised, I think, for either team to gain the ascendancy. As we go into our next round, in this round, we unzip the fanny pack of facts to reveal statements about Watchtower's past, just as a real fanny pack is uncertain, some would say controversial, as a fashion statement. The facts revealed by the fanny pack of facts are not always to be trusted. You must decide which are true and which are false. 2 questions each, 5 points for each correctly answered question. We start off with Team O'Donnell. Team O'Donnell. The Squibb Corporation that previously owned the World Headquarters building in Brooklyn is a pharmaceutical company today known as Bristol Myers Squibb. Is it true or is it false?
Yeah, I mean they owned the buildings until Watchtower bought them in 1969, and they are still around under a different name. I think, as Lloyd said, sounds correct.
Yeah, we'll go true.
You have answered true. I'm here to tell you your answer is correct. You've picked up some points. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We move across to Arthur's Knights. Arthur's Knights. The 1943 publication, The Truth Shall Make You Free, features images of a bare-breasted Eve in the Garden of Eden. Is it true or is it false?
It's false.
Arthur's Knights, you have
I think
answered
it's false.
I'm here to tell you your answer is incorrect. It was actually true. There are breasts visible. Some would say boobies in said book. Look, I've given up on this being monetized. Let me just say. So, commiserations, Arthur's Knights. We move back to Team O'Donnell for the second question of the round.
Purple book.
A 1995 Awake article lists Alien, Star Wars, Blade Runner, E.T., Jurassic Park, and Star Trek as examples of science fiction shows concerning which there is a need for balance. Is it true or is it false?
Could you just name the 5 movies again?
Alien, Star Wars, Blade Runner, E.T., Jurassic Park, and Star Trek.
Okay. Well, they did name movies. I will say that. That's for sure. But he could be trying to trip us up on either the year or
The group.
he could be throwing in a movie that wasn't in the list. So
The fanny pack of facts has been known to throw up some falsehoods.
Are you trying to influence our decisions? Isn't that,
No, I'm just reminding you of the nature of the round.
We're gonna go false.
right. You want to say false? Because they did list movies, but
They did. but-
you're thinking that he threw in
Remember,
one.
they really put Jurassic Park in with the.
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned Jurassic Park, so I
Yeah.
think you're right, Kimmy.
So let's go. We're going
Yeah,
Fox.
I think you're correct.
Is that your final and uninfluenced answer?
See.
Your answer is incorrect. It's actually true.
They actually said Jurassic Park.
They said Jurassic Park,
Yeah, I
Star
don't
Trek,
remember
Blade
that.
Runner, all of those in the Awake of 1995, December 8th, on page 7, if anyone's wondering. So we move back. You
That's
see,
interesting.
the funny pack of facts is quite frankly a biatch.
I might have left
Isn't it?
sooner. If I had
It just throws us all off. That's the nature of the round, unfortunately. So we move to Arthur's Knights. Asked in 1911 about the meaning of 1 Timothy 2, verse 15, Charles Taze Russell said he didn't know the meaning and therefore couldn't comment on it. Is it true or is it false?
First Timothy.
I think it's true, Arthur.
1 Timothy 2, verse 15.
Are
Feel
you
free to
letting him
it
look up scriptures?
Feel
No,
free
no,
to
no,
look
I'm
it
not.
up. I'm happy to allow time for that to be looked up. If we're just looking up the verse,
Oh,
That seems
okay.
to be.
perhaps Renato could
Yeah.
read it for us. Renato,
Yeah, that opens up all sorts of opportunities
read
for
it.
fraud.
yeah,
Okay.
Renato
What-
will
What is
adjudicate.
the,
1 Timothy 2, verse 15.
From which translation?
just give me a second.
It certainly wouldn't have been from the New World Translation.
So which one?
I
Which
think
of
it's
the-
false.
Any Bible?
I think it's false.
Okay.
I think it's false.
1 Timothy 2:15.
Yeah.
He says, however, she will be kept safe throughout childbearing, provided she continues in faith and love and holiness, along with soundness of mind.
So she will be kept safe through childbearing, is the verse. So
I think it's false.
is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Arthur's Knights, I'm here to tell you your answer is incorrect. It was actually true. And I know this because
Arthur, I
am
told you it was true.
in possession
Arthur.
of the book.
I told
What
you.
Pastor Russell said, his answer to hundreds of questions.
Ooh.
And on page 53, under the heading Childbearing, the question is, how do we understand 1 Timothy 2:15, which reads, notwithstanding she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety? Answer from Charles Taze Russell, this is a very peculiar passage. I am not sure that I have the right understanding of it, and wherever I am not sure what the Lord's meaning is, my rule is to speak very cautiously.
Awesome.
So we've learned something there. The fanny pack of facts,
Told
it has
you.
thrown a number of obstacles our way that have potentially scuppered the hopes, it seems, of
But
some
we've
teams.
closed the
But
gap. We've closed the gap.
I think
Lloyd, I
it's-
just jumped over to the comments. You should play. You should show the comment from Motorway.
hang on. Before we finally unzip the fanny pack of facts, zip up the fanny pack of facts, let's take some comments, shall we? Motorway to Roswell. The Jurassic Park bit is true. They banned it because Shane Brady was the lawyer killed by T-Rex. Oh dear.
That's
You
brilliant.
see, I like that, although I think he looks more like Gru from Despicable Me, personally. Just my personal view there. So, at the end of the fanny pack of facts, perhaps Renato could tell us the points.
So after 4 rounds, Arthur's Knights have 9.5 points, and Tim O'Donnell has 8.5.
Wow! Would you say the teams are finely poised entering Apocalypse Delayed?
This is one of the closest quizzes we've ever had, for sure.
Mark O'Donnell, are you feeling confident?
Okay, but
You know, the last round is just it's a free for all. Anything can happen. Tragedy can happen. Great things can happen.
When you
It'll
say
go down
tragedy
in
can
history.
happen, is this a threat against the other team?
It's
causing
a
a
promise
bit much
that
there,
crazy
isn't he?
things do happen, can and will.
Team
Arthur's ready.
But on the
Team
last
members.
question, I said true. So I think that
Well,
we should
I
get
have to go off.
our half a point back.
Nope, you didn't.
I have to go off the final answer, I'm afraid,
Can we do our half
Susan.
point back?
Nope.
I have to go off the final
You
answer.
gotta be more
In any
assertive,
case,
I
Arthur.
we
feel
go-
Team Susan is in the future.
We
Breakaway
go
team.
to Apocalypse Delayed. So you have to tell me in which year the following quote was published in Watchtower Publications, starting with Team O'Donnell. The quote reads thus: God never does a great act in secret. He advised the people of the approaching flood that destroyed the world. He is now likewise advising the people of the final trouble that shall shortly come upon the world. Was that printed in 1932, 1945, or 1966?
Maybe the 40s, Mark. Lloyd's reading from one of his new bound volumes again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say one of the older two. I do agree with that.
The earlier publication wasn't
Because
32
of,
that
like
he read
the use
from,
of the
say,
word
right?
trouble,
Right.
and
But the earlier 30s, that was 39.
read that real quick one more time, Lloyd. I want to.
God never does a great act in secret. He advised the people of the approaching flood that destroyed the world. He is now likewise advising the people of the final trouble that shall shortly come upon the world.
Mm-hmm.
Going
And it was
1940s.
32, 41.
The options are
Yeah.
1932, 1945, or 1966.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Kimmy on this one that 45.
Final answer.
Team O'Donnell, you have chosen 1945 as your final answer. Your answer is incorrect. It was actually 1932.
Mm.
And it's from the publication The Final War. So we move to Arthur's Knights.
Definitely one of the older ones.
Arthur's Knights. I'm going to read you a quote. You're going to tell me which year it was published in, hopefully. The name, the Great Tribulation, well applies to this time of tribulation that has been upon mankind since the year of the outbreak of World War I, to wit, 1914, and that will mount up to its highest destructiveness in the War of Armageddon, completely exterminating this worldly system of things. Was that printed in 1941, 1953, or 1967?
I'm going to say 67 because it's extermination.
Yeah, I'm guessing 67, and it's actually that book he was quoting from the at the beginning of the quiz. 67 final answer. That brochure.
Yeah.
Arthur's Knights. You have chosen as your final answer 1967. You have even indicated the publication that it's from. Rescuing a great crowd of mankind out of Armageddon. The question is, are you right? And I'm here to tell you that you are right. That is the publication that was taken from.
Yeah, I knew he was going to pull out the 67 booklet.
Yeah, I was waiting for one of those years to be 67.
Yep.
But
then
perhaps Renato at this point can just remind us the purpose of the coin toss in deciding the
True.
the randomness factor of the questions.
Yes, the award is decided by the coin toss, and because you won something for the first time in your life, you had the opportunity to answer the questions first. So don't complain.
Okay, we go back to Team O'Donnell for their final question of this quiz. A chance to stay in the running, it might be said.
Actually, no.
Oh, right, okay. Maybe it isn't a chance to stay. Okay, so what are the points at the moment, Renato?
So Team O'Donnell have 8.5 points. Arthur's Knights have 19.5 points, which means that the game is over.
Bum, bum, bum.
because the maximum points that Timo Dunham can
Yeah.
You're gonna get a
I
rim
agree.
shot, please.
Wait,
So,
we could
the
not,
only-
though, if Arthur were to cheat on that last question.
Yes.
We couldn't. We couldn't.
Well, he
Well,
couldn't. He couldn't because it's 1967 and Watchtower Library begins in 1970, unless he's got some very, very
True.
interesting tricks up his
Good
sleeve.
point.
No, I think the last one was quite obvious, and the coin toss,
It
what won that one because we
Just
knew.
a reminder of the disciplinary rules for this particular
No,
game,
please.
and
We can insubordinate all we want at this point.
minus half a point.
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to be insubordinate. We're getting down to 0 points.
okay, which year was this
I'm going to talk
printed
over
in?
you, Lloyd.
Go for it.
World events in fulfillment of prophecy show that we are deep into the last days in critical times hard to deal with. This means that we are nearing the biblical Armageddon. Was that printed in 1962, 1972, or 1982?
Was this from Kimmy? Was this from a booklet he pulled up earlier? A different one. It certainly isn't from what Pastor Russell said. 62, 72, or 82. I think it's one of the older ones. I mean, I don't think they
62.
used the word biblical as much, in the 80s for sure.
Yeah, it's 62 or 72. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to go with 62?
yeah, we'll go 62.
Okay.
Team O'Donnell, you have chosen 1962 as your final answer. I'm about to show you the publication from which said quote was taken, and perhaps it will immediately confirm whether you are correct or not.
So that is in the 80s.
1982.
Yeah.
Kingdom News number 31.
Yeah. Armageddon.
I was
remember
5.
placing that one.
I was
So
5.
we move on to Arthur's Knights for the final question of the quiz. In what year was the following quote printed? There can be no peaceful coexistence between God's kingdom and this ferocious, beastly system of things on this earth. It has been destroying or bringing to ruin this earth, and it itself must be brought to ruin. That will be soon at the Battle of Armageddon. Was that printed in 1943, 1955, or 1970?
40s. 1940.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, it sounds like 40s language to me. 43?
Yeah.
I say 43.
Yeah, that's what I say too. 43.
Arthur's Knights, you have chosen for your final answer 1943. Your answer is incorrect. It was actually 1955
Oh.
in the booklet that featured in our last show, World Conquest Soon. So, perhaps Renato, you could give us...
That was my first instinct. So can I go back and change my answer? Because actually, I thought 55 first.
Minus half a point for
Minus half a point there for insubordination. I don't know whether
please.
that affects the final points tally or the outcome of the game. But Renato, what can you tell us?
So at the end of last day's quiz number 10, Arthur's Knights win again with 19 points, and Timo O'Donnell finishes with 8.
Quite a big victory there. Thoughts, Arthur's Knights, and you also need to choose a penalty for Team O'Donnell. I'm sure you'll be kind and just and merciful in deciding on the penalty for Mark and Kimmy.
Yeah,
No.
if we're being merciful,
No.
then let's hear a beautiful rendition of the final part of Psalm
Yes.
62.
Yes.
Mark and Kimmy, you've been asked to sing the postlude from Song 62 of Sing Praises to Jehovah. The lyrics go, "How happy are the merciful, in God's eyes truly beautiful."
Yeah, I think I sang that one in Pennsylvania last time, so I think it's Kimmy's turn.
Oh, Throwing
Happy
Kimmy under the bus
How
there.
happy are the merciful, in God's eyes truly beautiful. I don't really remember how it goes.
That's okay. That's good. Well done, Kimmy. Good sports and good quiz, everyone.
Very good.
Well done, well done, well done.
I don't know whether Renato, you do you have any observations? I mean, it just feels as though even when they're having a bad quiz, Arthur's Knights somehow managed to prevail. It's very, very strange, isn't it?
Yes, this is the first time, fun fact, this is the first time that Arthur's Knights have ever gone under 20 in the quiz, and they still won.
And they still managed to win, yeah. It's astonishing.
I would say it's because, no, I won't do it again.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I've been hard enough on Timo O'Donnell today.
Oh, let's go to the
Our
comments,
biggest
shall we?
fan.
I
Let's
just
go to
want
the
you guys
comments.
to win. I just want you guys to win.
I mean,
once.
have we just put the entire world to sleep? There's
That's
100
5 wins in a row for Arthur's Knights.
It looks
5.
like there's
Yes.
181 people that have just
Gadget's
fallen
definitely
asleep.
a state.
Thank you so much, Leisha, for your super sticker. That's very, very much appreciated. Thank you. I think there's another one as well, which I'm frantically trying to find. What I would like to do, actually, Mark and Kimmy, is talk a little bit about ICSA, because obviously things have moved on a little bit since we did the Watchtower in Focus. Here's the other one. Lee Davenport. Come on, Team O'Donnell. Unfortunately, yeah, a little bit, didn't
If we'd
quite
just
work.
gotten that encouragement a little bit ago, we might have.
Thanks,
Here's
Lee.
a comment from Mark O'Donnell. Javier, please put us out of our misery. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
that didn't
because
work
Javier made
either.
a.
That's
You
interesting,
should
a
show
profile picture there,
Javier's
Mark.
comment. Javier gave a comment and said he wanted to reclaim his time.
I don't know whether we've shown this one from Stephen. Thank you very much, Stephen. So yes, it seems that lots of comments coming through, and we thank you all. Yeah, so thanks to all of you for following along in this show. Yeah, what can we talk about it? To be honest, I'm still a bit traumatized by the whole thing.
Well, Lloyd, we had closing statements, so maybe you could
Yeah.
summarize your thoughts of. And I know that several gave. I think your attorney gave some closing statements. Maybe you could summarize what he had to say.
Yeah, so the closing statements were supposed to be, I think, 5 minutes per core participant, but because my lawyer Richard represents multiple core participants across different religions, he got 15 minutes, and it allowed him to kind of connect the dots a little bit more in determining kind of the common denominators across the different groups and what they have in common and that kind of thing. So I was really pleased with what he said. Obviously, I'll have had input in that. But I was very glad that he stressed the need for ICSA to produce the full data, which, I mean, that's now all I'm interested in, quite frankly. I feel as though I've submitted, voluminous documentation to ICSA to explain every which way why there's a problem.
Let me ask you a question, Lloyd, because so Richard obviously made a 15-minute statement, said some great things. You had input on there, but now during the testimony, there's some things that the public didn't get to see, and there's a reference from Watchtower to, I think, 13 submissions. So as I understand it, there were some victims, some witnesses, some active witnesses who made statements on behalf of Watchtower saying that they approve of the process that Watchtower has for handling abuse claims. So, number one, were you able to read or see all of these statements, which obviously you can't disseminate? But number two, what is your comment on those 13 statements?
I'm pretty sure I've summed up one way or the other all of those 13 statements in my own submissions. So I think I can say openly, because I've said it in my own evidence, that this is a case of Watchtower going out and basically inviting favourable comments from people they know to be victims, because let's face it, they keep very careful records on who the victims are, and elders. And so it's not even just victims that those records pertain to, it's elders who are saying, guess what? We think that this was all handled brilliantly. and parents, sometimes not even of victims, saying, guess what, everything was handled brilliantly. And what Shane Brady tried to do was suggest that all of those statements are more valid or more important than any cases that predate the May 2019 Watchtower, when everything magically fixed itself. That was essentially what Shane Brady tried to say, which I think is appalling.
Very much so.
It doesn't take into account everything that happened before that May Watchtower, and that certainly that May Watchtower didn't fix.
I'm wondering whether Shane Brady even watched the evidence that we gave, because maybe my memory's foggy, but I distinctly remember, along with Duncan in particular, dismantling that Watchtower when we were giving oral evidence and giving examples of how, number one, it put everything on the parents very clearly, and number two, it used very interesting word games to just say things that would placate Jehovah's Witnesses, where if you drill down to what the actual sentence was actually saying, it says something perhaps a bit different. So I gave an example of that, I think, for one paragraph, where the key word was repentant. We don't tolerate those who unrepentantly abuse children. And I pointed out, well, yes, if the person is found to be repentant, then they're only reproved, and then they're very much tolerated by the congregation. So,
and it should never be tolerated.
so Shane Brady is pointing to the May 2019 Watchtower as though it's this panacea that has just magically swooped in and solved everything. And any abuse that happened, even if it's in the case of PRA 5, abuse that has led to a successful litigation against the organization, should just be forgotten by ICSA.
Right. And they did that in the 90s with that Abhor What Is Wicked Watchtower. And as a victim myself at that time, I felt placated. I felt heard. And I felt, wow, they really did something. So I didn't, understand at that time how they were using the wordplay and stuff. But, as a loyal, active Jehovah's Witness, when that came out, I felt, okay, this organization is going to protect children from now on.
Indeed. There was some interest. Sorry, go on, Renato.
No, I was just going to say, I remember a similar feeling I had when we had earlier this year, I think late February, a big TV news segment about the sex abuse problem and the two witness rule. And it was on a Saturday night, and I remember that's what woke my mother up eventually. And she called me that same night, did you see this? And what I did, I was still believing witness at the time, I went to the May 2019 article. I said, no, here's what they say.
Wow.
They endeavor to go to the authorities. It's all good. See how this article, it makes everything clear. And it's so I can say from experience that witnesses actually believe that there's no problem. And that's what's so upsetting, that they managed to control people's minds to that point where they can fool people into thinking that there's no problem.
And I think I don't know if I mentioned it on the last program, but as of August 1st, the Brazilian branch, which, by the way, Brazil is the number 2 country in the world for Jehovah's Witnesses. It even beats Mexico. There are 870,000
like
witnesses.
879,000.
And Mexico has several thousand less than that. So, we're talking, and the United States, by contrast, has 1.2 million, which is not entirely that much more than 800,000 witnesses. So I find the Brazilian, the scope of that, it's almost like they are the United States in themselves. And they have just issued an edict to all witnesses as of August 1st that says, do not listen to the media, the negative media broadcast about Jehovah's Witnesses. These are apostate lies. And secondly, it said, do not talk to apostates under any circumstances. They're very worried about this media coverage. And on top of that, we've had police raids of the branch in what's the name of the town? And it's outside. It's not in Sao Paulo, right? It's outside.
It's close. It's a town near Sao Paulo. I don't remember.
And there were several Kingdom Halls, I believe, in Sao Paulo that were raided by police. And as a result, we've had media coverage because they became aware of those raids. And a lot of it had to do with turning over child abuse documents. And so I was reading some of there are court cases. You can actually read a bit of the criminal case, and you can see where Watchtower has been fighting basically the extradition exposure of those documents, because they're saying that they don't have a right to go in and they incorrectly grabbed those child abuse documents. They're fighting.
The new segment that I was talking about, I remember that it says that the organization filed a motion to not make the records public, to basically not go to court on this. And that was something that I thought was really weird. Like, if there's no problem, why do you want to hide it?
You're right.
Why do you want to hide it if there's no problem? But that was just a small part of my brain that I rejected because I still believed. And I remember when my mother called me, she said she called an elder immediately as she saw the segment. And the elder was like, yeah, this is what we expect from Satan's system. They're going to attack us one way or another. But you got to see, the other religions have this problem too. So there are bad apples everywhere. That's literally what he said to her. And right. It's just unbelievable, the denial and their efforts to fool everyone into thinking that there's no issue.
So it was quite frustrating to watch. I mean, I enjoyed obviously watching Richard's statements because I think now, at least for me personally, and I think to some degree I speak for the other core participants, I'm only really interested in the full data. I feel as though over many months I've put together, again, evidence that explains everything inside out. All that remains now is the ball is very much in ICSA's court now to decide whether they will go for the full data or not. Because apart from anything else, what concerns me is that if the partial data is allowed to stand, then what Watchtower will do is what they actually did in Gillies' testimony and pretend that that's the full data when it isn't. So he was even characterizing it. I think he quoted 130,000 publishers in the UK, and so he was basically saying 130,000 publishers and look, 67 records. And he wasn't in any way attempting to explain that this is just ministerial servants and elders, just cases between 2009 and 2019, or cases in that period that happened in a kingdom hall. So it's very, very heavily cherry-picked. And the point that I'm making and that Richard made is that ICSA will inadvertently be making things worse for survivors and advocates if they allow Watchtower to pull this trick. And now that they've gone down this rabbit hole, the only way they can fix it is to go for the full data. So will they do that? I'm skeptical, but we can only jump up and down and make noise on Twitter or wherever and put pressure, and hopefully they will relent. The other thing which was very funny was Shane Brady going after Richard Scorer, who is a leading abuse lawyer with decades of experience, and trying to suggest that Richard had, I forget the wording now, he tried to suggest that Richard had said something misleading about the exchange between Ivor Frank and Paul Gillies, where Ivor Frank put Paul Gillies on the spot about the leaked record video. And all Richard's
patently false. That was
what was that? Sorry, Arthur.
He said it was patently false.
Yeah, so he said Richard had said something that was patently false, and all Richard had said was, which is very obvious if you watch the video, that Paul Gillies looked, quote, discomforted by what Ivor Frank was saying, which he did. He just did. So very, very interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting that Shane Brady was clearly rattled by Richard's speech into basically committing a faux pas and accusing a fellow lawyer of misleading the inquiry when he manifestly didn't.
I'd like to, speaking of being rattled, go back to Paul Gillies. And I just tweeted this last night because I don't remember seeing this article in quite some time. And I don't even remember reading these comments. But so there was a 2002 article in Wired magazine. And to set this up, remember, Paul Gillies was asked by Mr. Frank, who was your predecessor? And I found it interesting that he hesitated. He didn't immediately say. It was almost like he had to calculate his answer. Should I tell them who my predecessor was? It's when you're open and transparent, you say, "Oh yeah, well it was David Simonian, and I took over in 2018, and it should be a natural flow. It's a conversation." But he had to think about it. He paused. He hesitated. And then he seemingly reluctantly said David Simonian. Well, now that name appears all over Watchtower online pieces of information, like their news site, their news area, always had David Simonian's name at the bottom that said, for media inquiries, contact David Simonian. And here's the number at Brooklyn, back when they were in Brooklyn. So this guy was a spokesperson for Jehovah's Witnesses. Both he and J.R. Brown for a very long time. So all of a sudden, you have David Simonian, who's giving interviews, which is odd to begin with. Back in 2002, after the Catholic Church crisis, then there were big exposés dealing with the witnesses, such as the one by Peter Smith down in Kentucky, that he got all sorts of quotes from, including J.R. Brown. So then Paul Gillies is asked, well, who's your predecessor? And he doesn't want to say it, but then he says David Simonian. Well, Simonian was quoted in this Wired article, and I found this quote very interesting. I tweeted it last night.
Perhaps Gillies, this is pure speculation, but do you think perhaps Gillies was hesitant because David Simonian had been a naughty boy or had in some other way fallen foul of expectations? I don't know.
It does make you wonder, and I actually wonder I don't know if Simonian is in a different position now, or if he's fallen ill, or what. I know J.R. Brown has passed away, but I don't know why all of a sudden we have this man who, by the way, had a high-ranking position. He was the branch overseer of the UK. He was at the top of the heap. His picture is at the top. When we went to London Bethel, his picture was at the top of the branch committee. So he had, and he's, I guess he's Scottish, but this is his homeland. All of a sudden he's called to go in 2018. He's called to go to headquarters in New York, and he's got this new position. He replaces David Simonian, and I'm looking back at this statement from David Simonian. This is 2002. It has to do with a child abuse case. And the article says, he recently subpoenaed Bowen of Silent Lambs to testify in Rodriguez's case. I'm picking this up mid-article. It says, he has a key understanding of the inner workings of Jehovah's Witnesses, Anderson said, referring to Bowen. So it's speaking about Bill Bowen and his knowledge of the organization. And then it says, the Jehovah's Witness congregation with headquarters in Brooklyn, New York, denies it has excommunicated members who have contributed to Bowen's website. But David Simonian, spokesman for the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, admitted the group sometimes looks at the website, meaning Silent Lambs, when necessary. Quote, he also said that it attempts to, quote, readjust the thinking of those who post material critical of the religion on the web. Quote, this is what the Bible directs, Simonian said. If someone is writing or causing dissension, we would meet with them, 2 elders, congregation leaders usually, and discuss the matter. If indeed he were causing dissension, as the book of Galatians describes it, we'd readjust a man in the spirit of mildness. You'd calmly discuss it together so you can bring them back to their senses. There is no automatic excommunication. We want to keep our members. That is a direct quote.
Right. So we were thinking about your experience, Lloyd, so then they knew about you and JWsurvey, and then they readjusted you, right? Which ended up, hey, why don't you disassociate?
Yeah, that went well. But no, I don't want to kind of go on about it for ages, and that's That's very helpful, by the way. And to be honest, I'm still a little bit traumatized by the whole ICSA thing because it's been basically weighing on my mind for months and months and months and months, and I've not been able to talk about it. And finally, it's all coming out in the open, and I'm kind of being, what's the word? It's very, very distressing to see this issue that I have explained in detail being utterly misrepresented by Paul Gillies. And but look, I can't just walk away from it. I think there will be more. There may be another written submission at some point that I may need to be involved with. And at some point when it won't be immediately, it might not even be for a few weeks, but at some point I'm going to try and steel myself to revisit the footage to make videos about it. But for now, I'm just I can't do it right now.
You got to take a little bit of a mental break.
Exactly. But yeah, I think the Watchtower in Focus was useful just as a bookend on it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting that together, and I think it was good to just kind of get that out of our system and talk about it.
Could I say something about?
Please.
By all means, Susan. Yeah.
Well, and I'm sorry, I don't know why there's a delay in my audio. I'm sorry. That Watchtower study in regards to child sexual abuse, if the governing body thinks that that is in any way helping their congregations, they are way bad wrong. This congregation, everyone knows that it was the one that Roderick Watkins was in. On that Sunday, none of the families that had been impacted by his actions attended the meeting. That you couldn't get into the ladies' room for those of us in there sobbing our eyes out because it either evoked the emotions we were feeling towards our congregation situation, or people like me were deep triggered by their own child sexual abuse. And it was absolutely, it was not a good idea, in my opinion, for them to put that article out because nobody listened to what was being said. Everybody was being traumatized. And almost all of the women were just sobbing uncontrollably. So that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, to play devil's advocate, I would rather them have a policy where everyone can hear it rather than it being on a need-to-know basis. But the problem is, and I think that this has been highlighted with the ICSA inquiry, is that you don't just have one policy for everyone. You have lots of different policies that say subtly different things depending on the intended audience. And as was very obvious in the Lancashire ruling, Justice Levens, who's a big name in litigating abuse cases, said it's as though they're just writing these policies for the sake of having a policy. They're not following it. So that was very, very damning. But again, it's all there. The documents are all there to download. My evidence, Gilly's evidence. Please don't think that what you saw on the live stream is everything, because believe me, the live stream just scratches the surface of what's been going on in terms of documents going to and fro. I want to thank this wonderful panel for today's show. I also want to thank the super chats that have come through in support of the channel. That's very, very kind indeed. I think we might have a slightly newer one. Let me just see here. In any case, there's one from there's one from Nicole. I think that might have been from earlier in the show. But thank you as well to Nicole Mort Parker for your super chat. Shona McCullough says Gillies is called to sit in the wings to fill a GB position. He started partaking in 2017, I believe. That's interesting because I actually think that Gillies would make a very good GB member in terms of his ability to lie, basically.
I would also like to say that I've heard this as a rumor being spread that I don't have any substantiation for the fact that Gillies is or is not a partaker. So I don't know where that started. If it's true, then certainly he could be, but we don't have any evidence of that.
Indeed, we can't.
If someone wants to send us evidence of that, by
we
all
would love
means.
to see it. Yeah, preferably a picture of him
A
in the
video.
Kingdom Hall with the wine glass.
We'll get that
like
next
that.
year. Off of Zoom.
Also,
Or evidence that Bethelites are watching the Last Days live stream. We'd like that as well.
also, I learned something at the ICSA hearing that I didn't know. That your first name is James.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
indeed.
didn't
Yeah.
know. I was like, wow, his name's James. That's amazing.
So I was born James Lloyd Evans, and apparently that was my name for like the first 2 weeks of my life, and then for some inexplicable reason, my mum and dad started calling me by my second name, and it just stuck. So, yeah, it's strange.
All right,
But
Jimmy.
anyway, that should have been one for the fanny pack of facts, shouldn't
Yeah,
it? Really,
Jimmy
should have
Evans.
saved that for the
Jimmy
fanny
Evans.
pack of facts.
That'll
But,
turn up in a future episode.
But in one of Paul Gillies's written submissions, you were quoted as John.
Oh yeah, he called me John in one of the. I think I
That could be a
teased him.
Freudian slip.
I think I maybe teased him about that in one of my replies.
It's
The fact that he
it's
called me John.
This is the Johnny Sitters channel with Jimmy Evans.
John Evans, he
Well,
called me.
that's
Yeah.
why I put that quote from Simonian up there, because we have written proof from Simonian, who is now taken over by Gillies. Gillies has taken that position, that they do read. I mean, we kind of
That
knew this,
position, right.
but they do read apostate websites. And I just found it interesting that they were admitting to reading Bill Bowen's website and also going after witnesses who were saying things critical of the organization. Because I don't think they could get away with that now in today's climate.
Indeed. Anyway, thank you so much to my amazing panel. It's time for me to go and get my dinner. But it has been a wonderful show. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, for the many, many comments that you've been contributing. Don't forget to stay positive, and we will see you in our next show. Take care.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.